Hey guys, Tyler Ansman here with Tyler Ansman Performance. So today we're going to talk about tracking jump progress and two different ways we can do this. All right, so when we're talking about tracking jump progress, okay, especially when we're talking about this for throwers, right? So not a sport where they really are going to need to jump specifically for their performance. Kind of more of a proxy for our lower body power and in specific planes. So we know that certain jumps are going to transfer better than others to throwing velocity and give us a better idea, right? So, for example, we know from research that lateral bounds tend to give us the best idea of as they improve, throwing velocity tends to as well. And then we can use, counter movements, adding kinetic energy, taking away a counter movement, all these kinds of things to train specific elements as needed. All right, so that's a topic for a different time, but today we're going to talk about how we track progress for these things. Okay, so for tracking jump height specifically, we're going to talk about kind of the vertical variations here. We have a couple of options, okay? So we're going to go, kind of two technology-based options and then one that really doesn't involve any technology, okay? So the first one being the jump mat. All right, so this is basically, it's measuring, time in the air more or less. So when you go off the mat to when you land again, and it's giving you a height based on that. All right, so this is easy to track. The numbers make intuitive sense when we're talking about jump height. All right, so for both of these two options, right, the Vertec or touch height, which will be, free of technology and something you can easily do on your own without spending any money, they make intuitive sense in terms of talking about jump height. It's easy to create buy-in, easy to create a competitive environment, all these kinds of things. And the jump mat option makes it really easy to track, and it's really quick and painless. With the jump mat, one of the issues is with toe off, we can add a little bit of height that we might not get otherwise. So there may be like kind of a plus or minus 5 inches there that we might not see if we measure this a different way. If we have a kick out and you maintain dorsiflexion long enough, it's going to give you kind of this false sense of progress if originally you tested with lots of plantar flexion and you didn't know how to land well to kind of max out the jump mat. So that's a couple of things. The other thing with these two options is that body weight changes can lead you to incorrect conclusions. All right. So for example, if we have a guy who needs to gain some body weight and he does that successfully and we do it kind of at the, in the time frame that we want, all of this, he's getting stronger, he's getting more powerful, but one of the proxies we're using for kind of vertically oriented power is jump height, and we don't see the amount of progress we expect on that jump height. What can be happening is actually the body weight can be kind of leading us to these incorrect conclusions because we may still be improving power, which is what we're ultimately looking for, right? But we're not seeing those numbers show up because of his body weight. He's not actually going as high as we think he should be. And so we have a way to account for this. This is where movement velocity can come in. So you can hook up like a bar speed tracker to somebody and you can get takeoff velocity. And so if we have a higher body weight, you may not necessarily go as high as you would be otherwise. But if we see a higher takeoff velocity, we'll know that we're kind of on the right track there for these velocity improvements. The other piece to this is if we get a combination of like decent movement velocity, right, even if the height isn't as good, and we know the body weight, we can calculate watts from this. And in some cases, this technology will do that for you. And so we can actually see what the power looks like. So if we're getting, even if we're getting somewhere close to the movement velocity from before, maybe not even seeing improvements, but the body weight is actually higher, we may actually have higher power numbers that we're unaware of. So this may be, this is honestly the best way to track this. This is just isn't something that's available to everyone. So movement velocity is probably the key here, but it's less intuitive. So that doesn't necessarily help you with that. Like some athletes just want to see their jump height, right? So this isn't going to necessarily drive the same level of competitiveness necessarily as the jump height will, but it is going to be a better kind of proxy for lower body power, vertically oriented. There are also fewer cheats here, right? So you're not going to be able to kind of hold your toes off longer, or you're not going to be able to kick out, do all those things. It's just taking that takeoff velocity. So these are a couple different ways you can track jump progress and the kind of pros and cons of each of them, which you may want to consider when we're talking about how you're going to draw conclusions to continue your programming going forward. If you got questions about this or any other training topic, drop them below. Feel free to shoot me an email if you're interested in training with us. Also, feel free to inquire below or via email. Hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.